Story 1. The suite on floor 27, midnight, luxury hotel suite, mirrors fog though no shower runs. Heat paid for silence, not company. The senator liked things ordered, lights low, curtains drawn, phone face down. I remember the clock whispering midnight when I walked in. Everything gleamed, glass, marble, skin. Only the mirror looked alive, fogged faintly, though no shower had run. He stood close enough that our shoulders might have brushed if I breathed wrong. His cologne was clean, expensive, like water over steel. The light from the city caught his mouth, outlined it. I told myself to look away, but the glass behind him held both our outlines, already closer than they were. He loosened his tie, asked me to pour the wine. When I handed him the glass, his fingers brushed mine, deliberate but disguised as accident. I adjusted his collar, smoothing a wrinkle that didn't exist. My fingertips caught on the warm fabric. The pause was almost too long to be professional. He spoke near my ear, not to seduce, I think, but to test the space between us. His voice stayed low, like something meant to stay secret. Each word carried heat. The end of a sentence touched my skin. I felt it before I understood it. Breath, slow and measured, that wasn't mine. The senator turned toward the mirror then, admiring his reflection like he was checking a speech. I stayed behind him, still holding the bottle. For a second, two sets of footsteps echoed across the marble. One mine, one softer, half a beat late. He didn't seem to notice. I did. I moved toward the table, meaning to break the tension, but his knee found mine beneath the polished glass surface. He didn't move. Neither did I. The air thickened, warm as the lamp between us. A hum from the city pressed against the windows, steady as breath from something unseen. He asked if I ever got nervous on nights like this. I said no, though my voice betrayed me. When he turned, a strand of my hair caught on his cufflink. He reached to free it, slow enough to feel the tremor between us. His fingers grazed my neck. Goosebumps rose before thought could follow. Then quiet took over. Real quiet, the kind that hums just below hearing. I heard our breathing, the faint tick of the thermostat, and nothing else. The mirror showed us standing too still, too close. I looked away first. When I blinked, the glass still held us, a moment longer than it should have. He laughed softly as if to dissolve the tension and turned his back to me. "You can relax," he said. But the tone wasn't command, it was surrender. He faced the mirror again, shoulders squared, waiting for something. I stepped closer. The room's reflection lagged behind us, like memory catching up. When he finally moved away, warmth stayed where he'd been standing. I reached out, brushing the air, expecting nothing, and caught a trace of perfume that wasn't his or mine. It clung like humidity, faint and sweet. On the mirror, a single oval of fog pulsed in rhythm with our breath. He leaned in close, whispering something I didn't catch. The sound brushed the shell of my ear, too real, too near. I turned fast, but he hadn't moved. His reflection had. It met my eyes, smiled a half-second early. Behind me, warmth gathered at my neck. Someone's breath, steady, waiting. The senator spoke again, low, almost reverent. "Do you feel that?" I did. The fog on the mirror deepened, stretching into the outline of a hand. I blinked and it was gone. Later, security swore the suite was empty all night. Only the mirror shows movement. Would you stay if the mirror breathed back? Story 2. The Skybox arrangement, 11:45 p.m., closed stadium suite, reflection moves against the crowd lights. The suite felt sealed, air thick, glass humming faintly against the noise below. I'd been told to wait until he returned from the press box. Champagne half flat, city glow bleeding through the tinted pane. My reflection looked steadier than I felt. Almost rehearsed. He came in quietly, jacket off, tie loosened just enough to look accidental. We stood side by side before the glass, our shoulders nearly touching. The perfume on him was clean, just applied, and the light from the field drew the line of his mouth like it wanted to memorize it. The glass vibrated again, syncing with my pulse until I wasn't sure which beat belonged to me. He asked about the game, neutral, polite. The kind of question used to measure silence. I turned to answer and caught the faint echo of my own gesture in the glass, half a second late. When I adjusted his collar, my fingers brushed warm fabric, just enough pressure to pretend it was an accident. The reflection moved smoother than we did, like it already knew the scene. He leaned closer, voice too soft for casual talk. The words landed against my ear, slow, almost private. I heard the breath before I understood the sentence. For a second I thought it came from behind the pane, not from him. The reflection's lips moved differently, sound delayed, tone wrong. I smiled anyway, the way you do when you realize something's watching both of you. The crowd below roared again, distant and hollow. Up here, every cheer sounded filtered, as if the suite were underwater. He poured another glass, hand steady, eyes a little too fixed on the reflection instead of me. The tinted window caught both of us in that still champagne light. Two outlines breathing the same recycled air, pretending not to notice the third shape hovering behind the glass. When he sat, I followed, knees nearly touching beneath the table. The fabric of his suit brushed my leg, light as static. He didn't pull away. Somewhere inside the pane, a flicker mimicked us, but its timing lagged again. Slower, deliberate. The glass trembled to a rhythm that matched neither heartbeat now. I tried to laugh it off, but the sound felt borrowed, like the room had exhaled for me. He asked if I ever got nervous around glass. Odd question, said like a secret. I tilted my head, let a strand of hair slip forward. He reached to move it away, fingertips grazing my temple. The air changed temperature where he touched. In the reflection, though, his hand stayed hovering, never making contact. My skin still reacted, small shiver that didn't belong to anyone visible. For a while we said nothing. The suite listened instead. Every hum from the lights, every muffled shout from the field, became part of the same breath between us. I could feel his warmth beside me, hear the soft click of his watch. When I looked back at the glass, both of us were still, but the reflection leaned closer, lips parting as if to speak into the quiet we'd built. The power dipped without warning. For one heartbeat the suite went black, leaving only the field lights far below. I heard breathing, slow, dampened, as if it came from inside the pane itself. When the light stuttered back on, my reflection stood a step closer than I had been. His too. Both figures framed by a pulse of static that rippled through the glass like underwater lightning. He rose first, uneasy. I could still feel the warmth of where he'd been sitting, a faint imprint through the silk. The smell of his cologne lingered, too sharp now, almost metallic. I touched my own arm and found heat there, as though the reflection had pressed back from the other side. When I glanced up, the ghost image of his tie hung loose in the glass, knotted wrong, trembling. He came close again, voice thin. "It's just the lighting," he said, but his reflection didn't echo the words. Instead, it tilted its head toward mine, mouth forming his name, only it wasn't pronounced right. The sound vibrated through the glass, low and human. His breath hit my ear, hot enough to make me flinch. Behind it, another exhale followed, out of sync, coming from the pane itself. When the lights steadied, he stepped back as if nothing had happened. The reflection didn't follow. It stayed there, watching, lips still shaping the wrong name until the field went dark again. By morning, the news cycle devoured him. Video evidence, blurred, voices out of phase. Neither of us remembers filming. But sometimes when a window hums, I feel that same pulse under my skin. Would you trust your reflection in a room with no cameras? Story 3. The jet that never landed, 3 a.m. Mid-Atlantic. The intercom replays a whispered word. The jet hums like a held breath. 3:04 a.m. Clouds below, stars above. Nothing else. He sits across from me, tie loosened, eyes unfocused on the ice in his glass. I tell myself I'm here for the paycheck, for the miles, for the quiet. But the silence on this plane feels personal, like it's learning our rhythm. Our shoulders almost touch. The air smells of leather and new perfume, mine but not quite. The light above his seat draws a soft outline along his mouth. He notices, doesn't smile. The hum deepens, and for a second the cabin feels smaller, as if someone else just left the seat between us warm. He adjusts his cufflink and I reach over, too naturally, to fix the edge of his collar. My fingers brush the fabric, warm from his skin. It's nothing. It's everything. The plane shifts a little, like it noticed the gesture. He exhales, but the sound is swallowed before it reaches me. Then he leans closer, his words soft enough to live inside my ear. You ever wonder how high we really are? The heat of his breath trails behind the question. I almost answer, until the intercom clicks, repeats his sentence back to us, same tone, same rhythm, but wrong. It ends with my name. He freezes, eyes darting toward the cockpit door. I try to laugh it off, some feedback loop I say, but the sound of my voice doesn't convince even me. The jet keeps gliding through nothing, yet the air feels charged, as if the cabin itself is holding its breath. His seatbelt light flickers, a brief pulse of red. I shift to stand, and the leather beside me releases warmth, as if someone just left it. My knee grazes his under the table, not hard enough to be clumsy, not soft enough to be ignored. He doesn't move away. The intercom pops again, one static breath, then silence. I swear it sounds like someone listening in. A loose strand falls across my face. He reaches out, slowly, to move it aside. The tips of his fingers barely graze my temple, yet the skin beneath rises like it's waiting for something else. Outside, the dark ocean glints below us, motionless. For a moment, I think the hum of the engine syncs with my pulse. We stop talking. The cabin joins in, holding every sound hostage. I can hear our breathing, his slower, mine trying to match it. Somewhere above, the intercom hisses again, no words this time, just the rhythm of someone thinking about speaking. The light over the aisle flickers twice, then stays dim like an eye half closed. The pilot's voice comes through, calm, routine. Turbulence ahead. Seat belts, please. Then the static folds over itself, reshaping. The same voice returns, quieter, closer. Elena. My name pronounced like a secret. The manager looks at me, confused or pretending to be. I mouth, did you hear that? He nods, but his eyes are somewhere else, listening inward. When I glance away, his drink still trembles. He's gone before the ice settles. I touch the armrest where he sat, heat still trapped in the leather, a faint cologne I've never worn before. The intercom clicks again, and I hear his breath in stereo, drawn from nowhere, fading into a whisper that sounds like mine. The cabin light fades to a dull amber. I stay still, afraid that movement might confirm what's missing. Then a breath touches my ear, warm, deliberate. Don't turn around, it says. The voice is his, but it comes from the speaker above me. I reach for the intercom switch, but another whisper overlaps it. Mine. Have you ever heard your own name whispered through static? Morning. The jet glides down in silence. The door opens to an empty runway and one flight attendant who won't meet my eyes. She checks the manifest twice. Only one passenger recorded. My seatbelt bears an indentation beside mine, a crease like a hand that never left. The speakers crackle once more, breathing out the end of a sentence that I must have started. Story 4. The conference floor, 2:03 a.m. conference hotel elevator stops at a floor that shouldn't exist. R. The conference floor is silent, all gold trim and corporate afterglow. I've done these bookings before, hotel bars that smell like ambition and bourbon, but tonight something's off. The client texted a room number that doesn't exist. One letter. The elevator waits, mirrored on every side, its panel glowing faintly like a confession booth. I tell myself it's a private suite, political money can buy new floors. Still, the keycard trembles when I slide it in. We ride together in half-light. Shoulders almost touch. Her perfume is recent, clean, deliberate, the kind that fades slower than memory. The light draws the shape of her mouth in the reflection. I catch it breathing a fraction. Behind mine. A blink of lag. The elevator hums, steady as a pulse, but the numbers flicker between floors, uncertain whether to rise or stay suspended. She adjusts her collar, slow, precise. I reach to help without thinking. My fingers graze the fabric, warm from her skin. Just enough contact to register as accident, but neither of us names it. The mirrored wall repeats the gesture a half-second late, as if the reflection is still deciding what happened. The elevator jerks once, soft and deliberate, then steadies again. I pretend to check the control panel. The R key glows faint red, pulsing like it's breathing. She leans closer, voice low. Each word lands near my ear, hot and paced for meaning. Almost there, she murmurs, and the air shifts, perfume and static mixing until I can't tell which is hers. Her reflection keeps speaking after she stops. I turn slightly just to align the lips in the glass and realize one pair isn't moving at all. The floor indicator blinks twice, confused between 9 and 10. The doors open on a quiet hallway, carpet thick, air-conditioned, generic enough to calm me. Conference banners line the walls, the kind no one reads after midnight. She walks ahead, heels soft on the fabric, glancing back once as if confirming I'm still real. I tell myself the mirror trick was fatigue, champagne, or hotel lighting. But when I pass a framed print, the reflection lags again, half a breath behind. My own face looks patient, waiting for me to finish arriving. We sit at a small table near the elevator bay, pretending it's a lounge. Her knee finds mine under the linen, light, deliberate, not retreating. The silence between us hums like the machinery behind the walls. Somewhere below, the elevator dings, doors opening to no one. The scent of her perfume hangs in the air, sharp against the recycled cold of the vent. I glance at the panel again. The R key still glows, though we haven't pressed it. She leans forward, a strand of hair falling across her cheek. Without thinking, I lift my hand and move it aside. My fingertips brush the skin just below her ear, a brief spark, a pulse that asks to be repeated. The air feels heavier now, too warm for the hour. Her eyes flick to the mirrored wall, where our reflections seem closer than we are, breathing in the same rhythm but not quite synchronized. We stop speaking. The room listens. Even the ventilation hushes like it knows the script. Her gaze drifts to the elevator. Its doors remain slightly ajar, silver catching fragments of light. I hear my own breath return in pairs, one near, one behind. The silence stretches until it becomes a presence, thick enough to feel. I tell myself to stand, but neither of us moves, as if sound itself might collapse the moment. The elevator hums again, uncalled. Its panel flickers through numbers that don't exist. 7, 8, 9, then a blank pulse between them. She tilts her head, listening. It's looping, she says softly, but the words feel like they belong to the other version of her still waiting inside. I press the button once, then again. The glow deepens, swallowing the color around it. When the doors slide open, the hallway beyond is the same, only darker, like someone turned down the memory, not the light. She steps forward. I follow, though the air here feels wrong, warmer, almost damp. The smell of her perfume thickens, mixed with something faintly metallic. When she turns, the space behind her ripples as if heat were bending the image. I look down. My hand bears a faint warmth where she touched me earlier, as though her skin left a signal instead of a mark. The doors close quietly behind us, erasing the way back. The elevator dings again, but from this side of the corridor. Its doors open soundlessly, revealing our reflections already inside, standing too still. She turns toward me, lips near my ear, whispering something I can't write down. The echo comes from behind us, the same tone, half a second late. My phone buzzes, a photo notification. It shows us both in the elevator, but the panel behind our doubles glows with a clear red R. For a moment, it feels like the world is inhaling, waiting for me to decide whether to breathe back. Would you press the same button twice just to be sure it's real? When I look up again, she's gone. No footsteps, no sound of doors closing. Only the faint trace of her perfume lingers in the recycled air. I return to the panel and press lobby. It blinks, then resets to our on its own. Morning comes too bright, too clean. Later, the news says the conference was cancelled. No guests, no after party, no bookings that night. Still, sometimes when I pass a mirrored door, the reflection waits, as if expecting me to arrive again. Story 5. The Penthouse Invitation Midnight, Penthouse Suite, Déjà Vu Between Strangers. The glass walls hum with city light, the kind that never sleeps. I tell myself this is just another booking, champagne, soft playlist, celebration night. But when the elevator doors close behind his handler, the silence feels staged. He stands near the window, still in his tailored suit, studying me like he's remembering a line he once forgot. Then the cork pops by itself. A pale mist of roses spreads through the air, as if the room had been waiting to breathe. We both turn toward the sound. His shoulder brushes mine. Almost nothing, just static where fabric meets skin. The perfume I dabbed on hours ago rises again, fresh, deliberate. He exhales through his teeth, slow, measured. Same scent, he murmurs. The light from the city paints his mouth in faint silver. I try to smile to make it look professional, but something in his voice catches behind my ribs, like he said that before. He steps closer, reaching to adjust the collar of my blouse. It's a harmless gesture, polite even, but his fingers graze the fabric, warm, intentional. The touch lingers just long enough to question itself. You wore this before, he says. His tone isn't playful, it's careful, almost reverent. I glance at his reflection in the glass, nod at him directly, and wonder how a stranger could sound so certain of something that never happened. He speaks again, this time too near. Each word lands against my ear, soft and hot, the kind of warmth that rearranges the air. Last season, he says. Same perfume. Same night. His breath carries the faint bite of champagne, sweet and unfamiliar. I answer with a laugh that doesn't belong to me, a practiced noise for a moment I can't control. The view outside doubles on the glass, two versions of us too close to be chance. I try to redirect the night, ask about the season, the wind, the headlines he must be tired of hearing. But his focus never drifts. His eyes follow the condensation sliding down the bottle, then me, as if tracing a path he's already memorized. I tell myself it's routine, that men project what they want to remember. Yet the room feels rehearsed. Same playlist, same roses on ice. Even the city outside blinks in the same rhythm as a year ago, though I wasn't here a year ago. He sits beside me on the couch, close enough that our knees share the same shadow. Mine brushes his first, an accident maybe, but he doesn't move. The pressure is light, steady, like he's waiting for me to flinch. I don't. The quiet between us thickens until the air itself seems to listen. Somewhere beneath the carpet, the cooling system exhales, and I swear it carries that same rose scent, freshly uncorked, refusing to fade. I reach up to tuck a strand of hair behind my ear, but he stops me, gentle fingers brushing it away first. The back of his hand grazes my cheek, then hovers as if testing a memory's temperature. The skin beneath his touch prickles, caught between recognition and warning. He studies the reaction, not the gesture, and for a heartbeat I think he's about to apologize. Instead he whispers, "You trembled here too." Silence settles, heavy as velvet. He leans back, but the space between us doesn't return. The room listens, even the air holds its breath. I watch the window, pretending interest in the skyline, though what I see is reflection. Two figures frozen mid-thought. My throat tastes like metal and roses. "Maybe you dreamed it," I say at last. The words sound borrowed, as if someone else rehearsed them for me. He doesn't argue. Just pours another glass, slow, the fizz covering the silence we've built. His reflection in the window seems closer than the real man, its mouth half open, whispering something the room refuses to repeat. He lifts the glass toward me, and the bubbles die before reaching the surface. "To déjà vu," he says. I touch my glass to his, though the sound feels damp, wrong, like a replay through water. When he stands, I follow the scent before I follow him. The air behind him is warmer, tinged with roses and champagne. He moves past me toward the glass wall. I turn, and his hand catches my wrist. Not hard. Just enough to leave a print of warmth that outlives the touch. "Last time," he murmurs, "you didn't leave." My pulse forgets its rhythm. I can't tell if he's remembering or warning. He leans in, voice brushing the edge of my ear. The words arrive like heat, too close to separate from breath. "You stayed until the bottle was empty," he says, and for a moment the city lights behind him flicker, our reflection folding into one shape. I feel the faintest tremor near my neck, the ghost of a touch that hasn't happened yet. I turn, but his gaze is already elsewhere, caught by something only he can see in the glass. Morning seeps through the curtains. The suite is clean, still, as if no one celebrated at all. On the table, a new bottle stands open, cork beside it, fresh, wet. The air smells of roses again and of him. My pulse answers before my mind does. I check the mirror, and for a split second there are two glasses in my hand. Would you answer if someone swore they'd already kissed your shadow?